Hello and welcome. I'm a hotel AI expert, and I've spent my career right at the intersection of technology and five-star hospitality. So it's a real pleasure to welcome all of you, the students of Europe Hotel School, to this online learning journey. Today, we are going to dive deep, and I mean deep, into one of the most critical departments in any hotel, housekeeping. And together, we're going to build the blueprint for true operational excellence.
Now, our goal here isn't just about theory. No, this is all about practical, real-world knowledge that you can actually use. We're going to explore that crucial link, how you take a brand's big, beautiful promise and turn it into a consistent reality for every single guest, every single day. And we'll be looking at it through the lens of industry experience and, of course, some modern AI-supported practices.
So let's start with the big question, right? Every great hotel brand promises quality, comfort, cleanliness. But how do you actually make sure that promise is kept? It's not just about good intentions. The answer, you'll see, lies in having a solid architecture.
Okay, so let's get into it. The first piece of the puzzle is understanding this idea of an architecture of quality. Now, we're not talking about physical buildings here. We're talking about building systems, rock-solid systems that translate that big brand vision into real, executable, everyday tasks for your team.
And here's the absolute key: a brand standard that tells you what quality looks like, but an operational standard that defines how that quality is delivered time and time again, no matter who's on shift. It's the bridge that connects the promise you make to the reality your guests experience.
All right, so now that we know the what, let's talk about the when. You see, to deliver quality consistently, you need a rhythm. Because a one-size-fits-all cleaning plan, it just doesn't work. Not in a hotel, where everything is constantly changing.
And think about it for a second. Every single space in your hotel, from a penthouse suite to a linen closet in the basement, it has its own unique fingerprint, right? It gets used differently, it wears down at a different rate, and of course, it has a totally different level of visibility to your guests. That's why you just can't treat them all the same. And this is a perfect example of what I mean. On one side, you've got the guest bathroom. It's high traffic, high impact, it absolutely needs attention every single day. On the other side, you have that beautiful chandelier in the lobby. If you neglect it, the whole place starts to look dull. But if you clean it too often, you're just wasting time and money. Defining this rhythm is how you balance perfect standards with smart, efficient operations. You prevent neglect and you prevent waste.
So the big question is, how do we actually create this rhythm? Well, it all starts with mapping out the entire operation. This is like creating the master guide for your whole housekeeping department. And the process for building this map is super logical. First, you start big. You classify every single space into zones. Then, you zoom way in, and you identify every possible cleaning task in those zones, and I mean everything, from wiping the TV screen to cleaning the filter in the air conditioner. It's only after you've done all that that you can assign a specific frequency to each task. This detailed map becomes your department's Bible.
And you can really see how this brings the whole concept to life. The daily tasks, those are all about immediate guest impact. Weekly tasks take care of things that build up over time, like dust. And then you have your monthly, quarterly, and even annual jobs, like deep carpet cleaning, which are all about preserving the hotel's assets for the long term.
So, once we know when to clean, we have to get super specific about how to clean. This is where we shift gears from big picture strategy to precise, on-the-ground execution.
And the way we get that precision is with something you're going to get very, very familiar with in your careers, the Standard Operating Procedure, or as we all call it, the SOP. Think of it like a recipe for excellence. It's the detailed, step-by-step guide for every task that makes sure clean means the exact same thing to everyone on the team. Honestly, it is the absolute cornerstone of consistency.
So what makes the good SOP? Well, I can tell you what doesn't. An instruction like clean thoroughly is, well, it's useless. It's totally subjective. My idea of thoroughly might be completely different from yours, especially if you're a brand new employee. That kind of ambiguity is where inconsistency is born.
Now, compare that with this. Now we're talking. This is what an effective SOP looks like. Look how precise it is. It specifies the tool, the microfiber cloth. It specifies the technique, vertical strokes. And it specifies the outcome, no streaks. There is zero room for interpretation here. This is how you build a system of excellence that anyone can follow.
So you might be thinking, in a modern hotel, how do you manage hundreds, maybe thousands of these SOPs? You can't do it on paper. That's where technology like Document AI comes in. Just imagine you have to change a cleaning chemical across the entire brand. Instead of printing out new binders, a platform like this lets you update that one procedure instantly for everyone, everywhere. It gives you version control so you know your entire team is always working from the latest, safest, and most effective blueprint.
And let me be perfectly clear about something. A procedure is totally incomplete if it doesn't include safety. Every single SOP has to have critical safety protocols built right in, from how to handle chemicals to when to use protective equipment. This is absolutely non-negotiable. It's how we protect our teams.
Okay, so you've mapped out the entire operation, you've written all your detailed procedures, you're done, right? Well, not quite. Because a blueprint is pretty useless until you test it out in the real world.
This is what we call the validation phase, and it's so important. You have to take that procedure off the page and give it back to the people who will actually be doing the work. You watch them, you get their feedback, and that's how you find those little gaps between what's written down and what's practical. This isn't about pointing out mistakes. It's about working with your team to create an SOP that's both perfect on paper and perfectly doable in reality.
Because here's the thing. SOPs are not meant to be written down and then shoved in a drawer to be forgotten. They have to be living documents. And every single one needs a designated owner, a manager, a supervisor, someone who is responsible for training, for checking compliance, and most importantly, for keeping it updated when things change.
So let's bring this all together now. After all of this detailed work, all this mapping and writing and testing, what have we actually built? Well, we've built the very backbone of consistency for our operation. And this is really the main takeaway I want you to remember. A well-designed system with smart cleaning frequencies and crystal clear SOPs is what transforms that abstract idea of a brand into real, tangible, reliable action that your team performs every single day.
So I'm going to leave you with this one thought to carry with you throughout your careers. A brand is, at its heart, a promise you make to every single guest who walks through your doors. The question for you isn't if you'll make that promise. It's how you will personally architect the systems to make sure that promise is delivered perfectly, in every room, every single day.